In some ways, before when it came to anime, I didn't really know what it was I liked about it. I just knew I liked it. But now I've learned that what's really important to me in anime isn't so much the art style. I know a lot of reviewers talk about the art style and stuff
Mm,
like that, but for me, I realized just because for me I don't come from an artistic background with drawing or anything like that, that the
mm,
visually it doesn't really matter for me unless it's something that's super either outlandish or super colorful. Like for example, with Miyazaki, of course I love his artwork because everything's just so like Alice in Wonderland-ish
mm,
sometimes. But I realized that characterization for me is the biggest thing. I love seeing characters grow throughout a series. I
mm,
love seeing those dynamic relationships between two characters, and I love seeing, I guess, the drama or being able to, you know, the characterization the most. But also, I learned I love the plot of stories, especially if I can relate to the plot on a deeper level, and relate to characters on a deeper level. Besides just saying, I like this character, I can now say, I like this character because I related to the situation they were in due to me being in that situation. So I can put myself in that character's shoes. Or even if I haven't been in that situation, I can feel what that character is feeling and be like, dang, I don't know what I would do in that
mm,
situation. So in some ways that did change. But what also changed for me though also was how I looked at live action adaptations of anime.
mm,
Before I was someone, and I even said this before on my YouTube channel before, that I was someone who really always wanted that if an anime adaptation was done, I wanted someone who was um, primarily Asian to be the main character, just because I know how it felt as a minority to have someone play a pivotal character that also looked like you. But then along the way, I learned that, you know what, even if they don't, depending on what studio has it, it doesn't matter what that person looks like. It matters if they can actually portray that character truly for who that character is, and it
mm,
shouldn't matter what they look like. And
mm,
that's also changed for me after, you know, realizing what I really liked about anime overall, and not just anime, but even with manga and just with reading um,
mm,
through the stories and the plots of these
mm,
characters.
mm. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to adaptations, I mean, with any sort of entertainment, there's more to it than just what the characters look like. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's how they are acted, how they are written, how the directors are directing the actors, how the story is like flowing. There's a lot of all of these factors that take into account besides just who's playing the part. So I feel like not everybody's doing it, but I feel like a lot of people forget about like actually what makes a good movie or a good just story or good piece of entertainment and what that entertainment represents. There's kind of like a disjunct there. We have to look at the stuff objectively first. Like you have to see whether it's actually a good movie, whether it's written properly, whether it's acted properly, whether it's flowing properly. All of those stuffs are the most important things, and then below that is what the actual like people involved represent. That's how I feel. Especially because I was also reviewing anime and stuff, and it's like it's really difficult to do things too subjectively because you always want to put your feelings into your review. Um, but as a reviewer, you have to look at things objectively as well. If something doesn't have good flow, it doesn't have good flow. If it doesn't have good writing, it doesn't have good writing. And like my feelings about it, okay, that's fine to put that out there, but you have to point out like if something is wrong in an objective manner, you have to point that out. And sometimes those outweigh the kind of subjective feelings that people have. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's kind of true. I
Mm,
mean, it's kind of the same way how you, I know as a reviewer, I've had moments in time where I've had to say I didn't like an anime that
mm,
most people loved.
mm,
Like,
mm,
I know when No Game, No Life, everyone loved it. They completely loved it. They thought it was a cool anime. And I watched it and I did not like it. And it
mm,
was one that later on I pointed out saying that many people loved it because the art was wonderful. And I had said to people before, I said, yeah, the art was good. I said, but the storyline sucked. I just didn't like it. Like
mm,
I couldn't get into it. I just didn't understand where it was going. And you're right. There are times where you do have to just point out and say, this was just wrong. I'm sorry. Like, I can't agree with this. I can't say this was good. And I think as a reviewer, that can also get kind of scary, especially if it's a show or a series that so many people like, and for you to call it out and say, I don't like it, you know, maybe people are gonna be like that's blasphemy. Like for example, I haven't watched the Boruto series. I haven't read it. And I know many people may not like me saying it, but I don't plan to watch it at this point in time. I liked Naruto, don't get me wrong. I thought it was a pretty good show. I like the manga, but I'm not that invested to watch Boruto and see where it goes from there. But I think you're right that as a reviewer, sometimes you can't put your feelings into it, and that you do sometimes have to just look at it from a subjective point of view and sometimes call it out